It's on this computer. Great. So good evening, everyone. My name is Gabor Debeni. I'm the organizer of the Agile BA and PO meetup, and welcome to our July session. And tonight we have Rajesh Mathur speaking in an interactive speak. So I think he will not only speak, but he will also ask people to speak about prioritizing a backlog. And just going back, I've known Rajesh for quite a while. I think it's around, we met probably first around 2014. We were quite active in the Agile community in the last conference, and I followed him on Twitter because Rajesh always had a lot of wisdom in his tweets. So I remember the first time I spoke at, I think, Agile Australia in a lightning talk, it was, or maybe the second time, it was about like people that are, worthwhile to follow. And Rajesh was there because I really like how he's thinking about, Agile is. It's not about, not dogmatic. It's always focusing on value, very pragmatic. So I was really happy I actually got the chance to work with Rajesh, I think 2 years ago.
Yes, yeah, I think, yeah, time flies. I think it was about 2 years ago.
So yeah, we had a lot of fun, and unfortunately we don't work anymore together, but we both work as contract consultants, external. I don't know. You will introduce yourself. What you're doing, Rajesh?
Yes, I will.
But yeah, I'm delighted to have you at our event tonight. So looking forward to it. Go ahead, mate.
Thank you very much, and I'm quite excited to be here. Like most of the time, I also acknowledge the traditional owners of this land. After that, I will actually run an interactive session. So you'll have to give me a second. I'll turn on the sharing of this. I'll start sharing. Okay, well, how do I share this one? Okay, share the screen. Start broadcast. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it now.
All right. Okay. Can you see a blank screen now?
It's perfectly blank.
Very good. And can you see me? Perfectly not.
Perfectly not. I cannot see you.
Oh, very good. Okay. So this makes sense then. It works. All right. Okay. So we are talking about prioritization today because I will be drawing something. So let's start with drawing. And can everyone see my screen? Raise hands. Okay, but you will have to tell me.
Yeah, I can see people are raising their hands. So.
Right, I can't see it. So we are talking about prioritization. And we're talking about backlog. We are also talking about how to do it, and we will talk about other things as well. But what I'll do, I'll continuously draw. So sometimes you'll have to give me a couple of seconds to take action on that. Yeah? All right. So first of all, prioritization. When we talk about prioritization basically, when we talk about backlog, it is like a container ship, right? There are many containers there, a lot of containers full of different colors of containers, hundreds, thousands containers. Yeah, but when we look at containers, we don't prioritize the container ship as well, or just the ship, maybe the yard. So when it comes to prioritization, we don't prioritize a backlog. It might come as a shock, but to some, but we don't prioritize backlog. We prioritize our to-do list that we want to do. The reason that we don't really prioritize a backlog, because backlog can have everything which we may do or which we may not do. Do we agree on that? If you have any questions, please put them in the chat window because I can't see. I can possibly hear you, but Gabor will mute you so that recording comes out properly. So in case if you have any questions, then just put them in the chat window. Anyway, so when we talk about prioritization, we will come to everything, but first of all, I'll talk about the agenda of this evening. I'll start with introduction, what I do, how this meetup will run. We will have certain ground rules. So we will do the ground rules. If you do not understand, just raise your hand there, and Gabor will pass that on to me. We will do a small social contract. I got 30 minutes to run this, so I will try to be a bit faster. If you don't understand anything, let me know. But we will keep it interactive, and interactive means if you have any questions, let us know. When we talk about ground rules and social contract, I want everyone to feel safe. That's the most important thing. If you don't understand something, if you're confused, that's okay. We are all friends here. So we are free to question, free to talk, feel free to ask anything, anytime, mostly in chat. Gabor will look at all of these chats and will let me know. And also will ask if he believes I could answer. And if you can also add your suggestions, do add your suggestions.
Right. Can I also disagree?
Yeah.
Everyone can. Cool.
Yes, you can challenge, you can complain, you can question. Right. Okay. So we are good here.
There is already a question for you. I'm not sure if I understand it, but what kind of car does an egg drive? That's from.
That's a good question. I can't answer because I don't know what this question is. But first of all, since I got only 30 minutes, I'll be very fast.
Yep.
So I wanted to first thank Gabor. I don't know how I draw Gabor, but how I remember him properly, he used to have a ponytail, and he also has a small beard. So thanks Gabor for inviting me here. Once we do the introductions and we talk about the ground rules and everything, sorry, we have the ground rules. We will go to the next thing will be what product ownership is. And then we will talk about the prioritization techniques. Right? Okay. So this is how it will work. This is the agenda for tonight. Okay. Let's go to the first one, and that is introduction. My name is Rajesh Mathur, as you know, and you can possibly look at the new website that I've put together. And that website is called rajeshmathur.com. And it's a good looking website because I've happened to develop it, someone else is. So you can go on to that. I'm a bespectacled person, but mostly smile. I have some hair left, even though I'm closer to 50. And I'm a delivery coach, and I'm a consultant. As Gabor said, as a consultant, and I'm an independent consultant. So here's my sales plug. If you need any help in terms of agile or coaching or consulting, if you hear anyone scream this, call this guy. Okay, so let's move forward. I also run a meetup, which I call, so sorry about that. There is a meetup that I run. It's, you probably know, it's called Delivery Leadership. So if you're not on Delivery Leadership, join the meetup. Cool, let's move forward very quickly. So that was the introduction. Another thing that I want to add is on this website, this one, you will see some courses there. So I'm running some courses. That's again, sorry, I can hear some noises there. And there are some courses, and because you are here on 29th of July, I'm running a course on remote big room planning. this is very important course because I've been facilitating a lot of big room planning sessions recently, and everyone struggles to run it. So there are different courses. So go to that website, have a look at those courses. And because you're here today, the deal is I'll give you 40% discount only for today. It's anyways very cheap course. It's only $49, but you'll get it for $29. Right, I'll put the link in the meetup chat window, or Gabor can send it to you afterwards. Right, okay. And just to mention, the link expires tomorrow afternoon. Let's talk about the important subject, which is product ownership. What is product ownership? If someone wants to answer, good. If there's no answer, that is okay. I'll continue. If you want to say something, raise your hand so that Gabor can see it, because I can't see it. I'm on my iPad. Right. So when we talk about product ownership, we also talk about personas, right? And when I was thinking about what kind of persona I can use, I thought I will call this person Gabor, but that would be nice. But because I'm at Gabor's meetup, maybe we'll call it Gabor, right? And that doesn't look nice as well. But so in that case, ooh, that becomes Borat. Does anyone remember Borat? No one said anything, but so we remember Borat, the person from the movie. Yeah. Borat is our product owner. Yeah. And as a product owner, he always thinks about value. What is value? How does he provide value? And he's working with a lot of people. Some of them are stakeholders, some of them are customers, some of them are team members. So Bharat works with a lot of people, and he's responsible for all of these stakeholders. Not everyone is happy with Bharat because he doesn't have to, he doesn't do everything that they ask for. At the same time, when he's working with these people, they are also asking him to do a lot of things, and they always ask for more. These are all stakeholders. Some of them are management, some of them are direct business people. Now, Bharat also works with other people, and they are, as we know, they are the development team members. And we call them dev team. So there are UX people, there are CX people, there are developers, there are testers, there are business analysts. And he's working with them. And all of these people, basically, they work on a specific capacity. And since they have a specific capacity, they have to look for direction from Bharat.
Quick question, Rajesh.
Yes, sir.
Where is the customer on this picture?
So if you think asking about customer, this stakeholder that we are saying, these stakeholders are also representing customers.
Yep.
When I said they represent many people, they are actually internal customers or external customers. The product owner, as a product owner, Bharat basically is working with the internal customers because not always they work with external customers. I don't know whether Mark is on this in this meetup at this moment.
Hello.
Mark, you're there. So Mark Glassman, I used to work with Mark until last month. And Mark actually worked with direct customers as well, so as a product owner.
Yeah.
So some of the product owners actually work with. Sorry, Mark.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
Yes. Yeah. So sometimes, Gabor, good question. Where is the customer? Yes, sometimes these people here, they are either the internal customers or the external customers. But Gabor basically works with team, works with the stakeholders. Gabor has to, in some cases, basically, Bharat has to work on his day job as well. That's the thing, because that's the problem as well, because a lot of product owners, basically, they work on their day jobs, and they're not only working on their day jobs, they're also doing the full-time product ownership. And that becomes, so he's just a product owner, but he's doing his day job. Now, one of the things that Bharat does is looking at the backlog. And of course, from backlog, one of the jobs that he does is refinement. That is very important job for him. But not only that, he has to do other things, as we know. So all of these things, somehow he has to manage everything. So of course, this gets a little bit overwhelming for him, because team are constantly asking, and he has to deliver value to his customers, and the values are always asking for more. So they say, give us more. Unfortunately, a team has a certain capacity. Bharat, in some cases, the value that he provides comes from dollars, but not always, because value can be either dollars or some sort of satisfaction. Now, what that could be, we don't know yet, and he doesn't know as well, because that's how.
So check email.
Hello? Yes, some question? No. All right. So that's the problem, that he doesn't know what to do. And that becomes a big challenge for him. Well, like how the Bharat will say, what to do anyways. So problem is day job, refinement sessions, prioritization itself. And I'll take another 5 minutes to finish this one so that we can go on the techniques. One of the things that product owners, or in our case, Bharat has to do is he has to attend all the, or most of the sessions, Scrum or whichever we run. Yeah, the frameworks. So he has to attend all the sprint planning sessions, and the refinement, and the retrospectives, or well, not necessarily retrospectives, but planning sessions, or the demos and showcases and all. Now, one thing with product owners is they have to attend a lot of meetings as well. So that becomes quite challenging. Refinement becomes very important, because through refinement, if you don't do the refinement properly, then garbage in and garbage out. Correct? Right. So refinement becomes quite important. Now, another thing that he has to do is all face-to-face collaboration, which is necessary. Then another thing that he can do to manage things is proper communication. As you can see, there is a lot of communication involved in his job. Yeah.
Sorry, I was stopped.
That's okay. A lot of negotiation there with the stakeholders, with teams, and refinement. Basically, when we talk about refinement, he has to think about how to negotiate things, because you can't just do what the customers are asking for or your stakeholders are asking for. You have to consider, as a product owner, you have to consider what the teams can do, and there are so many things. For example, your technical things, they have to look at the infrastructure, base infrastructure. If they have to prepare the environment, and product owner has to work with the team to basically prioritize those. You can't just say, based on the dollars, we are prioritize everything, or what customers are asking for, we are prioritizing. If your infrastructure is not ready, then you can't really deliver things. So he has to work with teams. So these things are necessary. one important thing for Bharat as a product owner, one of the skills is the personal productivity, because there are so many things going on. And one thing that we often miss as product owners is to focus on personal productivity. Because if you can't manage your own work, if you can't manage yourself, other things will suffer as well. And that's the thing. If we are working as product owners, then we have to prioritize our own productivity as well. So personal
Rajesh,
productivity. Yes, sir.
Absolutely agreed. We have one
Yeah.
question from Krishna Sesha about, with the current COVID crisis, the face-to-face collaboration is not really possible. How do we manage it?
What we are currently doing is also face-to-face collaboration. It's just that it's virtually. So Krishna, when I talk about face-to-face, it means how we are interacting with each other. So as long as we are able to see our expressions, that's somewhat the representation of the face-to-face conversation or face-to-face discussions or collaboration. And this is why how we interact, that matters. Yes, if we are there in front, if we are talking to each other sitting down, that is, of course, that is preferable. But distributed teams can't do it. By long time ago, about 2005, I was working in the States and half the team was back in India. We did not have Zoom or other things like that. We had, I think the WebEx was there. So yeah, we had to manage things like that.
Yep, and we have two more quick comments. They're not really questions. One of them was that there is no such thing as an internal customer, as Sam said, and I think we had like 3-4 agreements at least. So that was just a comment. Krishna, thanks for the answer. And the other one was that it's more of a problem from 61407, that in reality nowadays the product owner is drawn from the business and not really available for those necessary ongoing decision making during the planning and the sprints, which is a big problem in many places with the PO role.
Yes, yeah. Well, I think when we were working together, we saw that as well.
Absolutely, that was very spot on. Yeah.
Yeah, and afterwards, I was doing some consulting, and I was almost every week I was just traveling around to different customer sites, and this is a very common problem.
Yeah, the underpowered PO.
Yes, yeah, or unempowered PO.
Unempowered, that's yep.
So when we talk about product ownership, that's okay. What they call soft skills, they matter a lot, because collaboration, communication, negotiation, personal productivity, and all of that. Although I don't prefer calling them soft, I call them essential skills, because if you don't have those, you will be in trouble. So essential skills matter when we talk about product ownership. And another thing that really matter is your understanding of the subject matter. So unless the product owner does not have very good understanding of subject matter, and along with the passion for developing and delivering a product, that becomes a problem. So this is a very brief account on product ownership. When I talk about personal productivity, then one thing that I personally found very useful is the personal Kanban. Does anyone know about personal Kanban? I take it as yes, but I will just quickly mention it. There is a book as well called Personal Kanban, and so if you get a chance, I think it is available on LeanPub. So have a look at that book, and if you can buy that book. Otherwise, just read something about personal Kanban, because this is a very useful and important concept for your own productivity. I think this would be very useful to have. Now, what you can see here, I'm also drawing some things here, and I want to raise something important, which is what you see is a problem on this board. Can someone tell me what the problem is? You got 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Go.
We got a couple of comments already. Too much work, too many things, and too much in progress. Yeah, thank you, Krishna, Bilal, and Jake.
Very
and
good.
Amit as well. Sorry.
Very good. So there are way too many things going on into work in progress, and that is a problem for not only for Bharat, not only his personal work, but also his productivity. So you have to make sure, and this is one of the principles of Kanban. Sorry, this is you have to limit your work in progress. Okay, can I quickly do a temperature check? How are we finding this presentation so far? Because I don't like to use slides, and I think it's easier for me personally that I draw and also talk at the same time and also interact with you. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
go.
So we have good. Let's keep going. Good, going good. Good presentation. Doing works really well. Good, good.
Awesome. So this is what
Useful,
I wanted to
keep
hear.
going.
Okay, so very quickly we had already seen that we are working with our PO, and our PO is a smart man called Bharat. Bharat is my yeah. It's a funny movie. If you haven't really watched it, then I would say definitely watch it. It can be offending as well to some people. All right, moving forward. The next thing that we spoke about, or in our agenda, we want to do is prioritization. Sometimes I struggle with the spelling when I type. Prioritization techniques. Okay. Ivor, are we on track in terms of time?
Yes, I don't know how much more you have left, but we are on time. It's we are at halftime, 5:30, and you spelled it correctly.
Okay, good. Thank you. So we are on time, which is really good, and I think I will finish in next 15-20 minutes. Right. So we're talking about the techniques. So first technique that I'm going to talk about is, and you know that, but most people are not good at that. And that technique is basically saying, can someone imagine from his face what he's going to say? 1, 2, 3, go.
They say no.
Very good. Wow. We got a very smart crowd here. Okay. So all of these people, sometimes they ask for things, the stakeholders, the internal business, and they ask for things which may not make sense. Sometimes they're just desires, and they may not be the needs. Yeah. They want something, but they don't really need it, as they say. Yeah. So these people, they're asking for something, not everyone is going to be happy, but he has to learn to say no, because they are constantly asking for more, right? So when Bharat is building his backlog, he's not doing it in isolation, and that's the thing. We are in isolation these days, but he doesn't have to do it in isolation. He has to work with everyone else, including his stakeholders and his development team, and maybe sometimes in some circumstances or some cases, he has to work directly with customers, as Mark mentioned as well. So from the backlog, we build, as we know, our product backlog items or our to-do list. That's the thing. A lot of people confuse backlog as the thing that we have to prioritize. But if all the desires, if everything that is there, it might not be the right thing to actually prioritize this thing. We prioritize the thing that we actually can deliver. So we build our PBIs. He works with the development team and also the customers. Once we dev team, so that dev team can actually deliver something worthwhile, shippable product. Yeah, and that shippable product, if they can do it, that's what matters in the end. That's what we want actually, and that's what customers want as well. Anyways, so that's the first thing. You'll have to, as a product owner, he and you have to learn what matters, whether it is based on this, whether it is based on the size of things, because not everything, when you look at our product backlog items and you choose what to deliver, it doesn't always have to be based on dollars. Sometimes it is the dollar, but sometimes it is the size, sometimes it's both. Right, so this is the shippable increment we're talking about. Another thing that a lot of people do not talk about is risk. When we talk about value, we also talk about risk, something that reduces the risk or something that can become a very big risk. We have to deliver, we have to work on that first. Okay, another second method that, any questions about this?
Yeah, we got two questions, Rajesh,
Yes.
here. So one of them is from Amit, who had a customer who was upset when you said, he said that, you know, he cannot do multitasking, but I think it's somewhat relevant to the no there as well, that what if a product owner cannot say that, no, I cannot do that many things, I cannot take in more. And that's one of the questions. So what if you are not in the position that, you know, the customer is upset or your stakeholders are upset? The other question is around proxy POs. So have you heard of them? How do they fit into this picture?
So we mentioned previously that a lot of POs are basically not product owners. What is a product owner? Someone who is empowered to deliver things and make decisions on behalf of a customer or on behalf of the stakeholders. If you're not empowered, then you actually become a fake PO, or not fake PO, but proxy PO. Then you're just ticking the boxes, and not a lot can be done in those cases. But I think one thing that can be done is you work with these stakeholders here. And once you work with the stakeholders here and also the dev teams here, I think, again, as I previously mentioned, it's the task is very difficult because you have to do all of these things. You have to collaborate, and negotiation becomes very important. So if you can learn how to negotiate, this won't happen.
Yep.
I don't have a single answer, but I think
I think you answered that, Rajesh, and based on our experience, I think things just get very lot slower because that proxy PO has to go back to back for decisions, and if the proxy PO cannot say no and has to multitask with the team, then the throughput will suffer as well. So things will be slower.
Yeah. What matters in the end is an outcome. So if these people want outcome, they'll have to negotiate. They'll have to understand that not everything is based on what they want, but instead what everyone wants. It's in terms of the outcome and the output. There is a balance. There has to be a balance there. All right, let's move forward. Second, we also know about that, and this is called stack ranking. And it's not a very difficult one, but and I think a lot of people actually do it this way, that when the product backlog is there and you're building this backlog, so there are a lot of things in the backlog. So you're actually looking at all your different stories, your items. They include the desires, they include everything else. There are so many items, yeah. And from that, you start looking at only those things that actually matter. And based on number of criteria, for whom it matters, whether it is risk-based, whether it is something else, which stories to pick. If we don't build the environment, we won't be able to deliver things. So again, the collaboration and working together with customers matters. But you choose just a number, certain stories that help you deliver things. This is again based on one thing, and that is your refinement. And that's why you do refinement frequently. And sometimes you do it, backlog refinement sessions, you do it with just your stakeholders, sometimes with development teams, sometimes someone else, or sometimes um, with just the BAs and Scrum Masters, depends, but you do it frequently. So it can be anyone, and it could be themselves. So in our case, frequency could be, I've seen mostly weekly, and actually that depends, yeah, but this has to be frequent. And that helps in stack ranking as well, because once you're doing the refinement, you're actually sorting out what is not useful here, and you're saying, looks like these are the things that we have to deliver. So, okay, let's move forward. This was the easier one. Third one is Moscow. We know what Moscow is and how to do it. We already know that it is must have, should have. These are the easier ones. Everyone knows about that. But sometimes you have to be mindful that we combine some of these different techniques. Would have and won't have this time. Yeah. What I propose or what I suggest to my clients, to mix this up with the next one. So Moscow with the next one, which is, I like this one, Kano method. Okay, who can tell me the person who created this technique? 1, 2, 3, go. Or do we have any answers?
Kano. Or Kano. And not me.
Very good. So this person was Noriaki Kano, or Kano.
Kano, yeah.
Yeah.
Properly saying Noriaki Kano.
Yeah, Noriaki Kano, because it is from Japan. All the good things come from Japan. In fact, very quick one. I visited Japan a few years back, 5, 6 years, and I was hugely impressed. So what Kano did, he created the technique, and it is about customer experience, customer satisfaction. Because for Japanese, customer satisfaction matters the most. Another thing that matters for them is quality. And that's why you can buy a Toyota with your eyes closed. So when Kano created this, he basically made a simple graph, and this was low, something was high, and I think that was, so one side it was customer satisfaction, another side it was features, feature presence. Now these two things are important. If your features are present, this side is basically absent, and this side is fully implemented. Right, so there are 4 quadrants and 2 axes. One axis, basically, it talks about your feature presence from absent to fully implemented, and then customer satisfaction from low to high, right? Because customer satisfaction matters a lot. If you're a product owner, I think you will be looking at it. Right in the middle is called performance or linear. Sorry, I was going to write linear in a line. Yeah, so performance or linear. Another one basically at the top is your exciters or delighters. Then in the lower quadrant, there is must have. most basic features without which you won't be happy, or those things which are mandatory. So if you're going into a hotel room and you don't have a bed in that, you would be very, very pissed off. And that's, if that is, this thing is absent, so your customer satisfaction is going to be very low. Yeah. But if you have and you go into a hotel room, you find a bed, you find clean linen, you find clean bathroom, tables, proper lighting, and you're happy because these are the must-have features here. So these things are there. Yeah. And your customer satisfaction, your satisfaction won't be the highest, but you expect that. So here, things that we are talking about are the expectations in this one. If you talk about exciters and delighters, if in the bar fridge or the room fridge, whatever it's called, mini bar, if you have everything, food and everything, and that is for free, because these guys in hotels, they charge like 3 times the prices and everything is free, you would be excited, you would be delighted, and your customer satisfaction would go high. So Kano says, based on this, and right in the middle is something which is kind of indifferent. The more you deliver things, more features you deliver, customer satisfaction tends to go higher. And that's what he suggested, that if you're prioritizing things, what he didn't suggest that, but when you look at the Kano method or Kano method, it basically tells you based on customer satisfaction, you can look at your backlog, you can select the items which help you do that, because the better the customer satisfaction, the better the money, or better the money because customers are happier, they are either buying more or they are telling others to buy your stuff. Okay, let's go to the next one. Another one is, which one was it? Number 4. So number 5, very quickly, and I think I have 1 or 2 more and we'll be finishing. Gabor, how much time we left?
In theory, we have another 16 minutes, but please go ahead. If someone needs to go, we get some comments, they can leave. At the end, after you finish the prioritization techniques, there is one topic that we had a bit of chat between people, so would like to cover that after you finish the priority
All
techniques.
right. Okay, so DVF is used in certain sectors and it is a good technique. So I suggest we look at DVF as well. And DVF means feasibility. Okay, so desirability, visibility, viability, and feasibility. What that means is you have 3 quadrants. One is something that is desirable, that is, there is enough interest in people to buy or use that particular feature. It is viable. That is, you can sustain that feature. You can continuously doing that. And another one is feasible, that you have all the technology and support and everything, people, that you can actually build that feature. So the optimum thing, optimum place, optimum feature is the one that ticks all the boxes, the black area. And this is also called the, the best optimum one for innovation, because you're selecting something which is desirable by people, which is feasible to do, and viable. It means viable means that can sustain the future as well. That you don't really, for example, Tesla, they're building the cars. They started building the cars, and then Elon Musk, he thought we should start building airplanes. No, not airplanes, but rockets. Yeah, so he started building rockets, and it was expensive. So first of all, was it desirable? Yeah, because the space travel or space is transport is quite important. A lot of countries, almost all countries, are using it. Whether it is feasible, of course, because Musk has a lot of money, billions and billions of dollars. So we can build that. And whether it is viable or not, because once you build, it goes into the space and it's gone forever. So he said, why don't we build something which can come back? And it comes back, okay, this is reusable, awesome. So it is viable business as well. So DVF is a very good technique if you can use in your And you can use it every day as well. If you look at all of these product backlog items, you can select based on DVF. Okay, number 6. We know what it is. Cards are good fish. Yeah. No, we're not talking about fish. We're talking about cost of delay. There is a book on cost of delay, and it's written by Don. I can't really say his last name. Reinertson. And he's the one who has devised this cost of delay technique. And he says everything is basically linked with value, dollar value. So cost of delay, basically, if you're talking about cost of delay, how do you find out what is the cost of delay? That is basically you look at your business value, you look at time criticality, that is when something will be delivered, or if it is not delivered, whether your customers will leave you and go somewhere else, or they will be very upset. So time criticality is there. Criticality, oh my God. Litty, all right. And third one is risk. So either you mitigate or reduce risk. Reduce or mitigate. Basically, it's more about reducing risk plus opportunity. You do something which either offers you opportunity or reduces your risk. And together they give you the cost of delay. So you calculate business value, and mostly in our case, we do it based on the Fibonacci series, but can be based on anything because there are different ways of calculating these things. And once you have the cost of delay, whichever has the lowest cost of value, you choose that story and or that feature and apply that or build it. Now, 7th one is basically is based on cost of delay as well, and it's called WSJIF. WSJIF, or it's also called weighted shortest job first. Okay, so WSJIF is based on cost of delay, and WSJIF basically is sorry, I'll have to draw something else. So WSJIF is basically your cost of delay divided by job size or the duration. So you calculate all of that here, and this is your cost of delay divided by duration is your WSJIF, or weighted shortest job first. And based on that, you select your stories. There is a template. All of these things have different templates. I can provide these templates, but I will talk about that later. So, so you select your business value, time criticality, your risk reduction or opportunities, and your job size. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 divided by 4 is your WSJIF. So this column is your WSJIF. Okay. So this is kind of a puzzle for you now. And I can't really draw those things very well, but I'll try to do it. Oops. I'll quickly draw this thing.
I'm wondering what that will be.
It has, okay, what it could be. What kind of animal it is?
It's a hippo. That's the,
yes,
everyone responds to that.
Okay, that's good. So my drawing is not that bad then. And hippo means highest paid person in the organization. Correct?
That's the most frequently used prioritization technique that I know.
Absolutely. Yes, unfortunately. So this is another method, but we prefer not to use this because this is this puts us in trouble most of the time. So we don't use this method.
So Rajesh, will you introduce another one, or can I ask a question? Or you have
yes,
another
you
one?
can.
It's,
I'm just actually finishing.
Oh, okay, cool. If you want to finish the next technique, and then I can ask.
So it's not a technique, but there are other methods as well. And those methods, they include your return on investment, and you choose things based on your return on investment or net present value, but they require a lot of time and to provide details. One of the things that I have actually used once is value poker, but then your management has to be there to play that, and you choose the items based on the value itself. Then some people very rarely they use cash flow as well for choosing things. So these are the other methods. Okay, go ahead, ask your question.
So the question was, you introduced quite a number of techniques. There are so many of them. How do we decide which one to use and when? And that's one question. And what is the biggest challenge here that you run into? Just let me go through it. Another one was very similar. Sorry, I have to scroll back because we had a discussion about the past meetup as well. No, the other one was very similar as well. Like, which one to choose? What combination are you using when?
It's a very big question, actually. So it depends on one thing, and only one thing, which is your context. What works for you? So it's basically, I'm saying, yes, it depends. But look, what I have found useful is Kano plus Moscow. These two techniques together, they often work because we are not really, most of our product owners are, as product owners, don't really deal with dollar value often. But if you're dealing with dollar value, then the case is different. In our case, mostly it is this, and you can combine it with stack ranking because the team is there. Look, one thing really matters, and which is communication. If you're not communicating with everyone, prioritization will become really difficult because what you believe may not be the right thing. You don't know the size of your stories or features in the beginning. You don't know the value of them because you haven't really developed anything. So and you don't know how long they will take to deliver. So you have to continuously work with others, and those others we know are these people here. So Bharat has to work with your development team here and the stakeholders and maybe other people as well within business. So there's no single answer for how to choose a good technique. There are ways to choose good techniques or what makes sense in your case, but unfortunately we can't really cover that in this discussion tonight. About any other questions there?
Yeah, there is. I'm just trying to understand it as well as I'm reading quickly. Can you use these while prioritizing the backlog with the team, so we can get both the business and the technical work to get planned better?
Sorry, you'll have to repeat the question, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to. So can you use these techniques while prioritizing the backlog together with the team, because the team, I think, represents the technical work, and quite often the product owner is representing the business value. I assume that's how the question is phrased.
Sorry, I don't really don't understand the question.
So okay, so let's say I might be misinterpreting it. Let's say you have a business requirement coming from the stakeholder. This is the value I want to deliver, and there is also the technical work that the team has to be done. And they say, well, we need to upgrade a database server. We have to set up CI/CD. That is coming from the team, not from your stakeholders.
Yeah. So that's how you do it. So when you're sitting with everyone in the room and you're prioritizing, you can tell your stakeholders that we have to build our infrastructure and we'll have to put a story that basically that says build your CI/CD pipeline first. Otherwise, you won't be able to deliver anything. Hopefully, people will understand over something which is not there. So of course, we need to explain things. Something that is business value, plus you have the background work which you have to do. So which one takes priority? Depends. If you don't have the infrastructure, you can't deliver anything. So maybe this one is taking priority.
Yep. The cost of delay, as you mentioned, because if you don't have that, you will slow down everything.
Yeah.
Another question, sorry, which technique makes more sense at a program or portfolio level to prioritize?
Cost of delay, I guess, because that covers a lot of things. It covers business value, it covers other things, your risk and everything else. So I think, or maybe WSGIF. But cost of delay basically is talking about wide variety of things. So you can use that. When I was in Hong Kong, I was working for Cathay Pacific Airways there. And everyone is working usually. And one day we got an email from the CEO and he said, I want a notification feature built tomorrow. What do you do in that case? Because it was related to some sort of compliance. So we had to drop everything and we had to build that feature. Although it took longer than one day, but it depends on your circumstances. If it is a compliance thing, if it is regulation thing, if it is, if your CEO might go to jail because of that, so you'll have to take that on priority.
Sure, we are getting close to our time, so it's almost 6.
So, okay, all right. So one thing I will ask is if there are no other questions, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and or you can follow me on Twitter. So basically, I don't know how to do this one, but it does look like Jabba the Hutt more than the Twitter.
Twitter, I can recognize it.
So work with me on not work with me, but yeah, if you want, you can follow me on Twitter or connect with me on LinkedIn. Last thing that I want is if you go to a site called menti.com, and so if you go to menti.com, and you will have to enter something. Let me see whether I have that thing open or not.
I think you have to enter a number. So
yes, I'll give you the number. Okay, if you go to Menti and you enter 310155.
310155. Yep.
Yeah, go to menti.com and please give me. It is completely anonymous. I won't know who has given what. So give me your honest feedback, please. And while we are looking at the feedback, I will also try to sell you something. Sorry. One thing that I would suggest is learn, constantly learn. Yeah. I think Gabor has seen my library, and Mark has definitely seen my library. There are a lot of books, hundreds of books there. Constantly learn. And when it comes to learning, I've actually started releasing small courses, 30 minutes, 45 minutes kind of courses. I'll put the link on one of the upcoming. So when you go to this website, there are courses. Have a look at these courses and see if anything works. The latest one, closest one, is the remote BRP or big room planning. And that is on the 29th of July. Have a look. If it looks good, benefit for you. Instead of $49, you're paying only $29. And I'll give you the link. I'll send you the link right after this one on the meetup page. One of the trainings which I really enjoyed, and Mark will vouch for that, I think, is systems mapping. This technique I learned a long time ago, and it has been absolutely fantastic because then you can look at the broader system. comes from systems thinking. But have a look. So have a look at systems. Actually, have a look at website, and I will, of course, I'll put the link in there. Anything else? Any other questions? And what I previously said, as a product owner, you can use multiple techniques. You have to learn these techniques. But what matters is this. You have to improve your communication skills. You have to learn. You have to improve your knowledge. And of course, you have to learn these techniques. Cool. Okay.
Great session, Rajesh. I hope you see the Menti feedback as well. There was one more topic. I know a lot of the people have to go because it's already 6:03. So
Yes.
I will stop the recording now, but there is one topic. If you have Nancy, Mark, and Amit still on the line, and if you would like to talk about the size of the work, I will bring that up. That if you want to go, I will stop the video, not the video, the recording.
Yes. Yeah.
Good, and not end. How do I? Yeah, stop recording.